Let's go. I'm finally back. Back in the fucking. Oh man, it just feels so good to be back in this seat, man. Oh, I'm not even recording. I mean, I'm not even plugged into my mic. I'm over here talking. This like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Gotta lock the fuck in, man. Get back to business, man. Nah, but man, I'm feel good, bro. Bro, if you ever want to fly Delta, don't. Don't ever fly Delta. If you in the US, don't fly Delta. If you out of the US, don't fly Delta. They will cancel your flight, make you rebook, and then cancel that flight. It's terrible, bro. I was in Houston for way too long, longer than I needed to be, but it was good. You know, I had some good times with my grandmother, my cousin, my aunt, my uncles. It was fun. It was well needed for sure. Did a backtesting session and then kind of went a little offline. What I did do was journal a lot, review my previous notes and messages that I wrote to myself. You know, I said daddling. I was gonna say daddling, jotting down different trades, different trade ideas from the past. What I've noticed is the time frames that I typically use are like the weekly, daily, 1 hour, 15 minute, and 5 minute. And typically it's the uh this right here, actually. Higher time frame draw, mid time frame point of interest, lower time frame, whatever, right? It could be inverse fair value gap, it could be a regular fair value gap, it could be an order block. But ideally, the concept, the main fundamental of it was your higher time frame draw, weekly and daily. What's your draw on liquidity? The middle time frame could be like your hourly or your 15 minute. What point of interest are you tapping off of to push higher to that draw or lower to that draw? And then the lower time frame, the 5 minute or the 15 minute even. What are you entering on? So that's what I'm just gonna tackle in here, continuing this session. I believe I'm here on NQ, currently down about 1% on this account. Actually, let me look at the analytics here, see how we're doing. Yeah, down about 1%. We were up about 2.5 ish, then ended up dropping down as low as 1.6. Now we're at about 1, which is fine. Risk to reward needs to go up. Needs to go up. It's been, you can see the ebb and flow of the risk to reward here. That needs to be fixed. So I'm gonna shoot for 1 to 2 to 1 to 2.5 risk to reward per trade. No if, ands, or buts, but I have to stick with a 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5 risk to reward on my average. So this needs to go up. Um, yeah. Other than I think the risk to reward, minimizing my losses, um, with decent trade management would be the best. I mean, as like I can see here, just on like a percentage standpoint, I mean, we're up 0.22%, down 0.1%, up 1%, up 0.67%, down 2 point almost 3% in July, and then up 0.15% in August. So averaging, I wonder if I could see that. If I could see what I'm averaging on a month to month basis. But I wouldn't. I would say it's probably negative. We're looking like we're gonna lose more than we win. So if I know that, then targeting a higher risk to reward. My win rate is 30% on this session. Um, which if I use a 1 to 3, I'll be able to get profitable. So let's go ahead and note this. So going into it, no less than a 1 to 2 risk to reward, letting the winners run, taking profits as I go, cutting losses as I go as well. So we'll go ahead and get this going. Right now, NQ is at all time highs. See what oil is doing. Oil is trading a little bit below all-time highs, and ES is just about to hit all-time highs. Just did. And it is August, so what I'll do is trade NQ. I'll stick with NQ. Trade all-time highs because I want to get better at all-time highs. So let's dive right into it. I'll try to keep this under 30 minutes. Currently at about 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'll try to keep this under 30 to 45 ish minutes just so it's not too overextended. But let's dive into it. So on the weekly, hold on, what day of the week are we on? Friday. Okay, cool. So then we're about to open up the next week. So currently on this week, we're bullish. Prices expanding higher. We're using these down candles as areas of support to push higher on the weekly. So if I go to the next New York session, I would anticipate price to continue higher. But first, it'll have to trade lower and then trade higher. If I'm looking at the open, low, high, close on the weekly chart, so areas that we can trade down into likely to be this old high here. We have a fair value gap as well right here. We have some lows right there as well that we can trade down into and move away from, as well as some gaps down in here as well. But first order of business, looking at the 3-day look back, we have this gap on the daily here. So starting out the week, and also keeping in mind the next day model as well. So no trading on Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, using the economic calendar to frame those trades will be helpful for sure. So going to the 1 hour here. Yeah, just looking at this, I would like to see if price on Monday can trade down into these lows here, relatively equal, trade into that daily fair value gap, and then push higher, especially with there not being any significant news on Monday. So we'll go ahead and push forward on Monday. Let's go to buy side liquidity, go to next session. Nice. So looks like we're going to potentially get a run on sell side liquidity, and this is Thursday's PM session low. So we could take that out and then push higher. We could go from external range liquidity running this low back to internal and higher. So we generated some buy side liquidity above us, even though we took out this high back here and then dropped. We can take out the low and then still push higher. We do have news at 10 a.m. So we can keep that in mind as well. So moving forward here, we do have a high resistance liquidity run as well. Just wanted to note that. So price can come down into this gap depending on how we close on this day here will determine if Wednesday is a tradable day to push higher for buy side. So just keeping it structured here. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15, 9:30. Nice sweep liquidity, trade down into that daily fair value gap, trade a little bit deeper. This is 9:45. This is 10 a.m. 10 a.m. news. So we push up a little bit into this imbalance here. If we get a full fill on this gap here and we shift structure here, then I don't see why it wouldn't push higher, especially on the hourly is giving a wick here, wick rejection. We can look to see if we change date and delivery to push higher. This is 10:15. Oh, don't start lagging on me now. This is 10:30. The way we reacted at this order block here, we can possibly push lower, but I don't want to see any lower prices. We may get a reaction here at this fair value gap. I don't want to enter there though. I want to have some cleaner structure here before I enter. So I like the way this sets up here. We support this fair value gap here, failing to trade below it. Shift structure here, nice expansion higher. You can look to enter somewhere here for higher prices. Although we are taking out 930s high at the moment, I would like to see if we can tap into this, especially this old area of selling can result in a new area of buying for buy side. So I'd like to see that play out. This is 1055, so we're trading up close into um, heading close into lunch. But I like to see this trade here. This makes a lot of sense for me. I'll go 1 to 2. Nothing less than that. I'll place this trade. And what I'll do here is go, I want to keep it structured as well. I did see a few comments about risk management. I do want to keep it structured in that sense. So I'll go half a percent on these trades in the beginning. Once I get into profit and have a little bit of a buffer, then we can position ourselves better into those bigger risk to rewards, those bigger percentages for risk. So I take this, we tap that for a value gap, we get entered in. Looks like we're finding support here at the fair value gap. Tap the entry again, failing to close below. There we go. We get some closes below. It looks like we're going to get stopped out here. And we do. All right. Like I said, running out 930s high was going to be a little iffy, but I saw the rejection here on this fair value gap that could have supported price higher after tapping into the daily fair value gap to push higher. May have been a little bit of a risky entry to take. Resulted in a loss. All good. What could we have done? What could I have done better? This fair value gap here, could have looked at it for sells, especially on a bigger time frame. It's the 1 hour. Could have looked at it to look for some sells. We fail on this fair value gap here, so this can look to be an inverse fair value gap. And we shift structure here. So pretty much I have my entry model where we run buy side, fulfill on an inefficiency. Stibby gets created, structure gets shifted. And then we can look for like the breaker here or the fair value gap. There's a fair value gap there, right here. Fair value gap entry. Yeah, we're out of our kill zone, so let's push higher and see what we do. Go to the next New York session, go to the daily, see how we closed. Yeah, so based on this close here, I would anticipate prices to move a little higher, but you know, we're still above a high. We can trade down into this gap down here, so we just have to see if we form a low before looking for higher prices. So just looking at this now, I don't see a low to be formed yet. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't see a low to be formed at the moment. We do have this low back here. This is the daily gap. No news on Wednesday. We do have 830 here. We have relative equal highs above us. Just looking back though, there's a gap up here, currently right here. We could push for these lows down here and sweep them. But let's just see how price starts reacting. I wouldn't I wouldn't want price to push higher. It may continue lower and then find a low, but I'd much rather it trade lower, trade lower, shift structure higher, and then push higher. So let's see what we do. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:30. This is not. Oh, sorry. This was 9:15. This is 9:30. As we can see, we run this high here and then we shift lower. Closing below these last two up candles. That's an order block. Push price lower. There we go. We run sell side there and continue down to that old high. So we tap down into that old high. Doesn't look like price is going to give us anything significant. But this order block on the 15-minute would have been a good sell entry if, I was on the ball. But it is what it is. Can't catch them all. Can't, win them all. So just got to stay stoic, stay dead center. So let's just move over into the next day. Consolidate right at that old high. Pushing up to a higher time frame. Yeah, we traded down into this fair value gap here. So now we may go from internal to external. Failed to run buy side up here. Fair value gap, old high, potential key level that we can push higher from. On the 1 hour, we have this gap up here. Pretty noticeable. It's currently in a consolidation. So we need to see either a run lower and then push higher, or just continuation higher. If we're looking bullish, I'm looking bullish. I would like to see bullish prices here, especially on my weekly. Yeah, tapped into this old high here. We can look for higher prices. Now, if we close below this low here, then we can look for lower prices. But at the moment, I like to see a low formed. And ideally, that would look something like this. We can run these relative equal lows here and then continue higher for the gap, or run these highs up here, trade into this gap, and then trade lower. So depending on what side gets tagged first and how we react at that, then that will decide what we do, what I do. So let's push forward, generate relative equal highs on the buy side. This is 9:15. 9:30 looks like we push. 9:30 we run sell side liquidity. Looks like we start pushing higher from that. So we grab sell side, start pushing higher. May get a full fill here. I like the way this is reacting, so I'll go ahead. If I get a close above this gap here, I'll look at this as an inverse fair value gap to push higher for the relative equal highs. It may leave without me, but there's my entry there. Ideally, it would have been here. Stops below this low here. Looking for a 1 to 2. Place order. Save. Get tapped in. Looks like we're going to get stopped out though. Yeah. The reason why I said it looks like we're going to get stopped out is simply because of how we closed right back inside of the range, inside of this fair value gap here. So currently down almost 2%, which is okay, and price just continues lower. Looks like I'm just completely on the wrong side of the markets. Yeah, I'm completely on the wrong side in this session. I've been trying to take buys, but been taking sells. Not one of the better sessions, but it happens. This is sell side, sell side. You win some, you lose some. You gotta take the good with the bad, right? This is Friday. Yeah, it's expanding for sell side. Yeah, I would have got caught in so much. This was, a good, area to take sells in. A lot of good areas to take sells in, but didn't see it. Wasn't open to it. Was trying to look for buys to continue the highs, but ended up getting slaughtered on the sells. So it's all good. One bad week doesn't make a trading career. So let's keep pushing forward. So we have Friday here on a daily. What is going on with the Wi-Fi, bro? What is going on? All right, I guess we can't go up to the daily. It says I'm disconnected from server, attempting to reconnect. Okay. Yeah, so we could be looking for their lows on these this sell side liquidity pull down here. Weekly, looks like we're gonna close bearish, so we can look for potential sells. So let's see what Friday gives us. May trade up into this fair value gap and trade lower. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15. This is 9:30. We trade up into that fair value gap. Trade a little higher. So we run out Thursday's lows. Yeah, FX replay is going crazy right now. Run out Thursday's low. Shift higher. Fulfill on an inefficiency. Push prices higher. Could trade down into this old area of selling that swept sell side, result in a new area of buying, um, targeting, Thursday's PM session highs or fair value gaps above us. See how price reacts. This is 9:45. This is 10 a.m. Now, am I likely to push higher from here to some highs up here, relative equal highs? I'd say so. We have this breaker here we could tap into and push higher from. Let's see. I have a 15-minute fair value gap there. We could trade down. What is this? This is 10:10. This is 10:20. 10:25. 10:30. 10:35. 10:40. 10:45. 10:50. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Pushes higher. Um, would have made sense to trade down into this breaker, this fair value gap under here, where relative equal lows are created, and then push higher. But we don't get all the perfect setups. But yeah, let's go to the next week, see how that does us. And still, it doesn't even play out. All good though. Moving on. Weekly. We have a weekly order block now. So that this order block should resist price lower. We have this mean threshold up here as well. And we can target sell side here. There's relative equal lows there, as well as some generated sell side here. So a lot of sell side liquidity that can be tapped. And with this being the start of September, what can be seen is price push up a little bit here and then drop for some relative equal lows, especially after running out buy side here. So let's see. This is Monday, so we're going to skip Monday into Tuesday. Monday fails to take out Friday's high. Tuesday takes out Monday's high and trades lower. Hasn't taken out Monday's low yet, so that can be the target here. Monday's low is potentially the target. Yeah, we took out Monday's high. We're showing speed and displacement to the lows. A 15-minute. Because of how close we are to these lows, we may just displace straight through them. Let's see how we do. That was 9 a.m. This is 9:15. Yeah, 9:30. Displace straight through. Sweep liquidity here, so we snatch Monday's low and trade back inside the range. May go from external to internal. Looking at it on a 5-minute. I'm not looking for buys, so. But this may be a good area to buy in because it's sold off so much. But I'm looking more so for sells, so I'll let price rally up into this gap here and then let me know what it wants to do from there. So there, let's do that. This is 9:45, 10 a.m. Run into the highs and the fair value gap on the 1 hour. Looks like we're going to close above mean threshold and above the gap. Yeah, price just continues rallying higher, of course. Looking to take out some relative equal highs. Still generating buy side, but still generating sell side. Failing to take out sell side. And pushing for higher prices. Now, what it can do is come to this tiny gap right here, this fair value gap, and then push lower for the generated sell side. But let's see. This is on the menu, so let's go to next New York session. Price pushes up straight through that. Uses that 1 hour fair value gap as an inverse fair value gap, supports it, pushes higher. And now we are at that weekly order block here. Fully filled in this inefficiency here, traded up into this volume imbalance here. We may be able to see some type of resistance from there, but we do have some relative equal highs. So with that, may see a run higher, but let's keep the open mind. Go to the daily. Let me take all of this off. Refresh myself. Let me note the 4 hour real quick. Go to weekly. Have this order block. Go to a 4 hour. Yeah, bunch of sell side here. And we have some buy side up here as well. Go to a daily. Yeah, I may want to see us trade up into this gap and then see what we do. And then a 1 hour. Yeah, so we came up into this here, failed to get above these highs here after running out buy side here, trading to and through this swing low here. So this would be considered a order block. We could look for potential lower prices. Hold on 1 second. Can I pause this? All right, my bad. That was my girlfriend. Yeah. So getting back into it. 15-minute. We have our order block here from the 1 hour painted on there. So this is 9 a.m. 9:15. Running out buy side up here. Full fill here. Shifting structure here. Trading lower and displacing this 830 fair value gap. Maybe an institutional order flow entry drill right there to push lower. So let's see, this is 9:15, 9:30. Yeah, that amount of speed would have let me know that that gap would have held. Let's see what we do here. Looks like we're going to continue lower, yeah. And continue lower, which is fine. Nice fair value gap in here to enter off of and push lower from. Could it have given me a 1 to 2? Stops above the highs there. 1 to 2. Just put it there. Yeah. Nice and easy. That made sense, but let's just move forward to Thursday. So that just knocked me off my pivot. Yeah, so failing to take out Tuesday's low lets me know that we're going to push higher for the buy side and take out the relative equal highs and tap into this daily inefficiency here. On my 4 hour, I see here that we reject all of these lows in here, these rejection blocks to push higher for buy side. You can see the potential fulfill on this gap here. It's funny how I started off the video saying what I needed, the weekly, daily, 1 hour, and 15-minute and 5-minute, but I end up, adding in the 4 hour as well. It just adds in a little bit more context. So I would like to see a run below 830's low, see if we can form a low inside of there, and then push higher for buy side. If that's a possibility, I like the odds of that. This is 9 a.m. 9:15 may just push higher and 9:30 may just open up and yeah. Yeah. That was Thursday. Thursday just pushes higher into the daily inefficiency. Not looking to see what it does after, especially with it being trading up close to lunch. Let's move over into the next session. Yeah, and then we just gap up Friday, push higher. Yeah, this was a shitty backtesting session. I almost don't want to post it, but I'll post it just because it's part of the journey. You know, this was very, very bad on my part. Down almost 2%. But another day, another session to get better, another reason to get better. So we're gonna keep it there. We're just gonna keep moving forward. I'll re-watch this session here, take some notes, and just recap everything that I did, see what I did wrong, what analyses I made that weren't the best, what I missed out on. Um, and yeah, we'll just keep it from there. I keep like tilting my head, but yeah, so I'll just keep it going from there. So until next time, which will be tomorrow, I will be back.